It's Muscogee, Nico, Muscogee, Gators, and Mussolini, Hannibal, listen, this party, red land, the red tsunami, red creeks, and red Ferrari, red claim, ranger bodies, medical, and ex-body, yeah, bless. They call me Mr. Manifest. You fellas screaming out the chest. I got this technique better. I found my destination through a red light. Rock your soul through the daylight. Hot jump going crazy, right? Nazi going crazy, right? Up, man, fight. I'm purple hazy through the night. I'm thinking chili out of spite. I'm thinking soupy for the slice. I'm speaking Alabama cream. I'm top of corn through the streets. I rock that range on the tape. Koozie King is out of ranges. Koozie. I'm talking, they call me Nico Tussanooey. Like a flame, like a dude. In the fields of the core. And I got some fun. Good evening, family, and welcome back to the Indigenous series, Remember Who You Are. July 23rd, 2025, the Muscogee Nation Supreme Court made a ruling that should shake us all awake. Two descendants of enslaved people, Rhonda Grayson and Jeffrey Kennedy, were finally recognized as citizens of the Muscogee Nation, 159 years after an 1866 treaty promised them that right. Let that sink in. 159 years. But tonight, we're not just celebrating this victory, we're going deeper because the story, this ruling, exposes something that most people don't want to talk about or don't even know to talk about. How the concept of civilization was weaponized to control, divide, and erase indigenous peoples. The Muscogee Nation, the Cherokee, the Seminole, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, they call them the 5 civilized tribes. Who decided that? Who got to determine which tribes are civilized and which weren't? And what did you have to give up? What parts of yourself, your culture, your spiritual practice, your soul to be considered civilized, enough to negotiate with? Tonight, Hannibal James is going to connect the dots once again that most historians won't touch. We're going to talk about those who stayed behind when removal finally came, those who amalgamated into the slavery system of the settlers, those whose indigenous identities were systematically erased, hidden behind the labels of freedmen, mulatto, and colored. We're going to contrast these 1866 treaties made after the Civil War, after these tribes sided with the Confederacy, with treaties like the 1832 Treaty of Cassetta that concern Hannibal's very own kin. Treaties designed to dispossess, treaties designed to divide, treaties designed to make us forget who we are. Because here's what they don't teach you. When you can control who counts as civilized and who counts as Indian, who gets citizenship, who gets written on the DARS rolls, and who gets omitted, who gets put on the Freedmen rolls, who gets left out, you control the narrative. You control the resources. You control the identity itself. Rhonda Grayson said when she heard the ruling, she felt generations of my family's exhale at once. Generations Tonight, we honor those generations and we ask the uncomfortable questions about colonization. Doesn't take your land. It doesn't just take your land. It takes your definition, your character, your categories, your identity. This is who you are. Let's bring up our esteemed panelist, Mafia Shakur. Welcome, sir.
Peace, Mr. Donnie.
Horace Lee the Fourth, how you living? Hey, Horace. And Hannibal James.
Hey, what up, though, everybody?
Peace, bro.
All is well?
Yes, sir. Everything's good with me. How everybody doing?
Good,
All
good.
is well.
Mr. Malone, welcome to the show, sir.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Peace.
All right. I think I want to go ahead and dive into this real deep. So you talked
show,
about,
sir.
Hey, now.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
all right. What up,
Peace, man.
So you talked about how the Creek Freedmen got their citizenship in 2025, right?
Hey, now.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Peace. Yeah, you got it. Thank you. So in 2025, the Muscogee Nation ruled that the Muscogee Creek Freedmen can enter to the tribe and be granted freedom citizenship within the tribe. So that's for those who walked the Trail of Tears, the descendants of those who walked the Trail of Tears, plus, well, the descendants of those who walked the Trail of Tears. But the bigger picture is that a lot of Muscogee Creek stayed behind, and there was another treaty that is attached to them called the 1832 Treaty of Cassetta. So then when you get into these roles, you got the 1866 Creek Treaty where they walked to Oklahoma. That's the Dawes Roll. But for those who stayed behind, it's called the Parsons and Abbott's Roll. The 1832 Parsons and Abbott's Roll. You got names that is broken down by the towns, and it's broken down by Indian names or native names and surnames. So as far as Alabama is concerned, that was the last stronghold of the basically all the tribes, and they was walked west to Oklahoma. From the seeding land, see the green and the blue on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the middle of the blue, right there, the middle one in the blue at the top, that's where I'm from. That's Coosa area right there. So them 18 counties right there, it was originally 10. It was Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers, Russell, Randolph, Macon, Barber, Benton, which became Calhoun County, and Henry counties, Alabama. So if you got any links there prior to 1866 or prior to emancipation, you more than likely got some Creek Indian ties or Muscogee ties. So that that green area, I think they suppose that's Cherokee's place, but it's not. The Cherokees basically were invaders to this part of the land, so to speak. That was Muscogee area right there at one time. But when we get into the treaties is just like federal law. You get what I mean? It holds the same weight as federal law. You get what I mean? So it's above state and city laws and stuff like that. So when you get into like the 1832 Treaty of Cassetta, this was for those who didn't walk the trail, those who stayed behind. They was given like individual allotments, you know what I'm saying, under this treaty. So the head Miko or chief, he got 640 acres, and his second in command or any other person like in Mathala or something like that, they got 320 acres of land. So, but what happened was after that 1832 treaty, a lot of the settlers start coming into this area of Alabama because it opened up. You know what I mean? So people from South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland start fleeing into Alabama. While they coming into Alabama, this land is supposed to be forever under treaty, but one of the guys who enslaved my family, he was like the administrator over the land. So you will see that he got like over 50 land allotments that he got his name on, where he got certain Muscogees to sign over the land to him. And this is where we come in, because that's that very same Grayson family that Donnie opened up with. Them are my DNA cousins. You know what I mean? I got several of them out there in Wagner, Oklahoma, and Porter, Oklahoma. That's where the Creeks is at out there. And we, for the last few years, have been pinpointing how we are connected. You get what I mean? And it is like, I got my third great grandmother's brother. He's out there, and he's on his name James Whetstone, and he's on a creek roll. He's on creek roll as blood out there. You know, so but the discrepancy amongst the Creeks is that we was divided. If anybody know anything about the Muscogee Nation, it was Upper Creeks, Lower Creeks. This happened after the Lower Creek chief William McIntosh sold Georgia and stuff like that, or a little bit prior. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit prior. But this was the epicenter of when he sold that land there. You get what I mean? And this was the only treaty when he sold. It was called the Treaty of Indian Springs. That's where they signed it at. And this is the only treaty in history that was overturned, and thus giving us the Treaty of Cassetta. You guys have noticed that the modern Muscogee Nation now only goes by that 1866 treaty. That boxes every other creek that stayed behind out. Basically, those who, let me go. Those who are white sticks, just put it that way. The people that's out there now are white sticks, are Lower Creek, because those are the ones who walked the trail. It was after William McIntosh got killed, his sons and his brother Chili McIntosh and Roley McIntosh walked the Creek Nation, or the Lower Creeks out there. A lot of the red sticks stayed behind him and got enslaved by the settlers coming in. You know, thus you have my family and a lot of the families from like that Tallapoosa, Sylacauga, Talladega, Birmingham area. Because when you get, if anybody know anything about Birmingham, Birmingham is a big farm, big plantation. It's a big square with cities off the outside of it. And then when you get to like what's that, First Avenue North and Opoto, Madrid, it's a big historical marker that tells you about its Creek territory, and it goes into the history. Well, my people only live like 30 miles from there. There's only like 35 minutes drive from there. You get what I mean? So that whole area was at once time was our people's. So this is where I'm at with my studying or my research. So I done found the tribes, the clans, but I'm at the point right now where I got the Treaty of 1832, where my third great grandmother got three. She ends up with 3 land allotments. Like it's like 2 of them for 640 and 1 for 320. And how I found out about this is that I'm going through a lot. I'm stumbling, but I'm trying to get this information, and you guys can run this back and see. You know, keep running it back and listen to what I'm saying. My great grandfather sued everybody in the family. And what I mean sued, he wanted to sell a portion of the land and give the church down there in Coosa County some of the land. And which that was a good thing, because I was able to get the land description, meaning like the section, the township, and the range. That's what a land description is. So you get like a section number, a township number, and a range number. So STR. You get what I mean? So I was able to take that information and run it through the deed books in the county, through the probate deed books. And when I get through the deed books, it's nothing but the Chickasaw track record. You get what I mean? So that's another story for later. But when I mean Chickasaw track record, they recorded every Muscogee land allotment under this Chickasaw track record. And then you can start seeing those who enslaved my family as administrators, those getting land as well in between, you get what I mean? So this is real personal to me. Also, one of the guys who enslaved us was named Reuben Jordan. In 1820, him and the guy on the screen, that's Tuskegee Huckey or William McIntosh. Him and Tuskegee Huckey received some slaves, and they divided some slaves amongst each other. And it was a guy named Robert Grayson. You see the Grayson name that come back in front with the guy from that Donnie was mentioning? It's the same family. So Robert Grayson, during I think like before 1817, he got into some financial difficulties where another guy named Henry, I can't remember his last name, but this guy named Henry took his slaves and fed them and had them for a year, but Robert Grayson didn't want to pay him. So the court decided to take his slaves. But not only that, they divided the slaves amongst William McIntosh and Reuben Jordan. And now Reuben Jordan was the guy who lived next door to another guy named Leonard Marbury that owned my family. And once Reuben Jordan died, his estate went to him, and thus you got us. You get what I mean?
Okay, I want to know, is this guy right here your friend or not?
Oh, hell no. No, he made the law. See, he made the law that got him killed. So prior to him getting killed in like 1825 or whatever, he made the Creek Council made a law that if anyone sells some land without the other chiefs agreeing, at the time was like 90 of them, that it was death to him, that they was gonna kill him, and that's what happened to him. And once they killed him, you get the Trail of Tears instituted. The Cherokees walk out, the Muscogee walk out, but the Red Sticks faction that killed him stayed behind, like Menawa's people. That was his name, Menawa. He was one of the. He was the one who killed him.
Menawa.
Yeah, Menawa. That's the Creek. That's the Upper Creek, Upper Red Stick chief that killed him. It was like him and
Upper Creek.
Yeah, Upper Creeks is those who. So let me describe it. So they do it by rivers. So in Alabama is the Coosa and Tallapoosa rivers. In Georgia is the Chattahoochee and the Flint River. So in Alabama, I come from the Coosa and Tallapoosa. That's Upper Creeks. And in Georgia is the Lower Creeks at the Chattahoochee and the Flint River. So basically, this guy here was the chief of those who was the White Sticks, the political body.
Okay.
So this is the ones who would talk to the settlers. Menawa comes from the people that when it's time to go to war. That's two different people. Everybody don't fight.
This is Menawa here.
Yeah, that's Menawa. So
Are they
now
on the same team?
No, Menawa is the one who killed the other guy. I'm with the Upper Creeks. I'm with this guy. I'm the descendant of those who stayed with fought with him. Now, when you get into the Upper Creeks, you'll start seeing the Shawnee, and you'll start seeing the Yuchi. You'll start seeing the Africans. This is what you will start seeing. You'll start seeing those Ladino people that ran away from DeSoto in 1540 as their children, as their generation goes. You get what I mean?
You got to slow down for a minute because you let
I know I'm all
catch
over the
up.
place. So
it's okay. Nope, you're doing great. I want to slow down and catch everybody up. Horace Lee checking in. What's up with you? I think he's driving. I'm not even sure he can hear us.
Okay.
Horace, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Just doing what I do. How's everybody?
All is well.
Good.
That's
Doing
good.
well,
That's
brother.
good. That's good.
Well, I see a question in the comments that say, "What about Tennessee?" And that's Tennessee right here.
Yeah, Tennessee.
That's Tennessee in the Muscogee language. So at one time, Tennessee was Muscogee's and Shawnee's place. and then the Cherokee come in. But we could say that a friendly group of Cherokees called a Chickamauga band, which was with the Shawnee. You get what I mean? But you had the other bands.
And they had more tribes than rap groups, man. My God.
Yeah,
how you know who's who?
Because they was by the mother clan. You know what I mean? So that they say they was from the Deer clan, that was a certain mother lineage, or the Wind clan, or the Bear clan. These are certain mothers, and then within the other tribes, it was these clans as well. You get what I mean? So that mother wasn't just specific to one tribe. You get it?
Right.
The white folk
Here's
also got the whole local.
Here's a comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Belong.
No, you got it, brother.
No, you were talking. Go ahead.
Quickly, I just was saying they also got the 3 jurisdiction system from us. We always had a certain type of like local, county, and like state type of relationship, having the family tribe. Then you had the overall kind of like county environment tribe, and then you had the national tribe that would go a long way, states. So we've always had that 3 jurisdiction type of relationship in tribal relations.
Absolutely.
And I even push it a little bit farther, Minister. I say that like after like 1715, like when the Yamasees over there in South Carolina and the Guale, or people called Gullah, or in Savannah, Georgia, when the Shawnee had to escape, they all fled west, and they kept their identity. You get what I mean? You know, they was able to be their own nation, but they was a confederation. A group of nations is a confederation. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Under the Muscogee was the head group. So you had different tribes from different ethnicities, put it that way, maybe spoke different languages, but they were still under this umbrella. That's what I'm saying. Just like how we African Americans from Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, but we know we all kin, right?
Absolutely.
Same mannerism, same thing.
Have you asked yourself how in the world we didn't unite better and whoop that ass?
Because certain trinkets was given to certain people.
Right.
Yeah.
Certain people was promised land. Certain people was promised goods and services through the slave trade of the people.
Why weren't we, do you ask yourself, why weren't we more organized? Why weren't we busting caps up on the coast?
Oh,
how
see,
come
that's
we didn't? No, I'll tell you, how come we didn't? How come it seems like we didn't have a trans-border mentality?
I think, Donna, we need to look at it look at these Muscogean creeks or these red sticks a little bit more. Like a couple shows ago, somebody from Oklahoma called and we got to talking about Fort Mims. And he said, y'all killed them mixed breeds down there. This is what he said to me. You know what I mean? Them red sticks and them creeks wasn't planned at all. You get what I mean? You had a plantation down there.
But break that for me, because you lose me sometimes. The red sticks, the white sticks. You talking about white people, black people?
No.
I mean.
So I'm talking about factions. I'm talking about you got a Native American group, but you got one side that's for like the hell with these Europeans coming over here. Then you got the other side like, yeah, we want to go ahead and barter with these Europeans and get the goods. So the white sticks is the one.
Who said hell no?
The red
sticks.
Okay.
And they eventually was enslaved. You get what I mean? They was eventually ran out of Alabama and became Seminoles. You know, that's where the Seminoles come from. Like, what is it? Tallahassee, Florida, that comes out of Alabama. Them are all places in Alabama from where I come from, or Tallahassee, or like you trying to say Tennessee, all that comes from out of Alabama. And they wasn't playing. If you look at the history and you read their encounters with these explorers, the Muscogee and them Chickasaws, Choctaws, they weren't playing. The Chickasaws and Choctaws were what you call slave catchers. So if you ran away from a plantation, it was the Chickasaws and Choctaws coming to get you. And if they couldn't bring you back alive, they scalped you. And that was a proof that they found you. Look at the history of the Chickasaws, the Freedmen's out there in Oklahoma, and see how brutal these folks was. Their slaves didn't have a run in the part. The Muscogee, at least in the Muscogee Nation, you can become part of the tribe coming from Africa. Chickasaws, Choctaws, they were the only two was like, nope. You can't be even under the treaties. You can't be under our stuff. You know what I'm saying?
They were the far right white sticks.
Right. So you had the
far right red sticks or far left red sticks, and you had the far right white sticks.
Right. So because you had the Chickasaws and Choctaws like opposite. If anybody is in military specialists, you know about OP and LP sites, observation posts and listening posts. So the Chickasaws and Choctaws was like the ones observing and listening. And they was relaying the messages back to the Europeans of what was happening as they was coming down from Washington, D.C. to Louisiana and building these federal roads around and expanding out west. You know? So it was more complex than what we think. But I think once you start looking at, because Alabama didn't become a state until, like I said, 1832. So the last place, you know, you got 1619 up in Virginia. You got 1832 in Alabama.
1662 in Maryland.
So you're looking at the whole gambit. You're looking at the very end of enslavement coming in out of Alabama becoming a state, and you see Georgia become a state 1735, or part of it become a state 1735, the part closer to the ocean and the islands off the ocean.
Well, I got a question. Can y'all hear me?
I hear you.
So my question is that moving forward, how do we get from up under the yoke of this colonizer and the cutthroat of these shiesty Negroes, you know, that's working for the same government that's been slaughtering and oppressing our people? Because
So
go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I thought about what you said.
One thing we got to do is understand that while politics is a tool, it is not the only tool. We have to be engaged in politics, but that can't be where we put all our eggs. We have to have, like Minister Malone, we have to have that option and all kinds of other options, including self-determination, including those watching the show spending money with each other. I see Malone at least once a week because I got to support that store. That store brings jobs, brings resources, brings fresh fruits and vegetables to my neighborhood. As a matter of fact, I got a sidebar for you. And y'all cook, right? I know y'all cook. Man, I cook these greens up tonight, but I gotta tell you, man, you know how you put your foot in it. You gotta slow cook. Now I don't know about, but I put that smoked turkey in it and just slow cook it. You can't rush it.
All right.
You can't rush. You slow cook that chunk, and you know it's popping when you come back in the house, and the house is like, bam. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, there you go. Sorry, Harsh. You was making a point.
Well, I think I'm still, gonna always, say segregation is the number one tool needed because, I don't know, man, and going into the spiritual realm and segregation, because we still got materialistic mindsets to the point that we still searching for, well, a lot of this stuff, just to check a bag. Or to try to, get into this financial equation so we don't have to struggle anymore when this thing is bigger than that.
So what I was trying to say without saying is that those of us who stayed behind in Alabama under that 1832 Treaty of Cassetta, we have the right to redress. Just like them Creeks out there won their citizenship into the Muscogee Nation, us in Alabama, we had the right to redress and become a sovereign nation of our own without them because of the historics behind our nation, is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that certain things was granted to us that we shouldn't let these folks get away with. You get what I mean? And if our viewers and if we take the time and look at the things that, because at the time of treaties, the treaties of 1866, it was like $300,000 thrown in a trust back then. Who knows what that trust is worth now? This is why they able to get food stamps. This is why they able to get welfare checks and stuff like that. Our people need those things. Our people, a majority of our people need these things. And what I'm saying is that it's by right that we get these things. And then also it said for 25 years, they supposed to send us the best people to train us. Meaning that for 25 years, our kids and our generations should be going to school. You get what I mean? It was certain things that they said, if you stay here behind, you get just 640 acres, you're able to do X, Y, Z. And what I'm saying is that hold them to it. Just like how they hold you to the law when they pull you over, whatever they do, hold them to what they say. That's my point. And that's what I'm speaking with passion because I speak with passion because this is the argument I have with my own family.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But when I go back over the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and when I go back over the teachings of the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, you know, they sort of paint a different picture in such a way, you know, you know, like I always say, man, you know, it's hard to accept flies not to fly over your picnic area, you know, at the picnic. What else do you expect them to do? So you can sit down and cross your hands and try to negotiate and, you know what I'm saying, come to terms, you know, with these flies. But at the end of the day, they still going to be flies.
Yeah. In the last show, one of our viewers made a comment about I should have reached out to Chief Langley of the Uchis, in which I turned around and I did, and I had a decent conversation with him. You know, and they very prideful, like they don't want no attachments to nobody else. You get what I mean?
And who is that?
His name Chief Langley.
What tribe are they from?
The Uchis. Remember the last show we talked about the Uchis and the Shawnee. But he talks about the band of Uchi from Savannah, Georgia. And he runs down a history about them. And I got to talking to him about DeSoto and all these things. And we come to understanding that we're talking about the same events that took place. I'm talking about the end, and he talking about the beginning. You get what I mean? And I say that
real quick.
What?
Go finish, brother.
Go ahead. You can jump in.
I can real quick. I think one of the biggest things that I've heard throughout the past couple weeks that you spoke to is, as far as commonality, is really pushing for that drip document for all people, right? Because that when you start talking to people who have the knowledge of some of these things, that's where, and we went down this road before, that's where a lot of the conversations get stagnant because it then becomes, but we get into the whole history debate, right? Like what happened at this time and what happened at this time. Who are we really? And I remember at that time, Mafia made the good point of like, well, that's been our issue, right? Coming from what we've been told, we need to determine who are we and where are we coming from. But we also have to really separate ourselves and officially separate ourselves and be very clear about what we do after we separate. And that document at least allows us to separate and have clear rights that then allows us choice. And then in those places that we can deliberate on what we want to do and the history, we can do all of that in our own space. But as a nation of indigenous people, it would be great if we could push for the movement of one, the education of reclassifying that we are indigenous people, and then two, pushing that UNDRIP document so that we all can activate these rights through self-determination and start doing more of our local building on what tribes are we on, and doing genealogy, getting our land back, doing a lot of the local work that we already do, and getting a lot of the history and all of that stuff out the way. But if we can start at that top level, we can start knocking down some of the organization that we already used to doing.
I think
So
that's powerful. I think it's every.
Yeah.
I think it's every aspect of it, right? Because I think we looking for a straight and narrow answer, and it's not just a one way answer. So
Right.
all things are applicable according to each individual. You know what I'm saying? Because
can I,
every family is a tribe. So
yeah.
starting even with yourself and your family, that's a tribe all in itself. Whether you're going off of the genealogy and dealing with the treaty laws, or you're going with UNDRIP and just claiming indigeneity, whether you starting with your community aspect and us as a community in a certain area have an ideology that we running off. So it's many different levels to come under that one empire. Like we talking about, we talking about building an empire set that has all of these tribes in a social order, that we have harmony and we moving as one. But it's so much healing on each level to get to that point of which we're trying to do.
I think both of you guys hit on it, but I think let me bring it home. So certain, like I said, if you so say for instance you go back down south and say I got air property or my family own this land down here, right?
Right.
So that land is in some type of trust, right? And over that trust is certain things that happen over the years during that trust. So what I'm saying is that if you owed anything like land and stuff, what I'm saying is that I can't let go 1,600 acres to my third great grandmother without trying to fight for it. And not only that, and not only that, to know that we still got some of it, that it ain't all gone. You get what I mean? I think it behooves us to see what it behooves as far as this indigenous movement.
Mm-hmm.
It behooves us to know what nation and what clan and tribes we come from, because certain things was left. Maybe these people out there ain't the people they claiming to be. Maybe you are, because you don't know
Well,
the history of
me
it. Go ahead.
let me ask this then. Okay, the first thing I want to ask is, does anybody think that these people, you know what I'm saying, will truly honor what we're trying to push, you know what I'm saying, on a large scale?
They
And the
already
second
are.
question is, and the second, so they are.
Yes,
They
sir.
are. They
They are.
already are.
So
That's
so
what
they
you asked us that
so
last time, and I said it's 400. There's 400 federally recognized indigenous governments right
yeah.
now
But see,
on this land.
when it comes to that term federally recognized,
Let me finish though, brother Horace. There's
yeah, I just
500
yeah, that don't really mean
non-federally.
anything to me when I hear those words.
I feel you, and there's 500 non-federally, like us, meaning that they don't care about that either, and they chose to keep their autonomy, and they're recognized as a tribe, but that don't mean that they need to get any federal recognition for money. That don't mean anything outside of they doing their own thing. But my point is there's over 500, and when I'm in black areas, not specifically to you, but when I'm in black areas, people always ask like, well, what if they do something to us? And then the other diversity areas, they ain't even thinking about what people gonna do to them. They are preparing for whatever happens, and they gotta just move forward. That's what I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
let me ask my second question. So, does anybody think that you know? Because when I look at the history, and I mean, you know, there's always a law of probability in all equations, you know, and so you know nobody's ever really, you know, like you said, you know, the brothers and sisters are preparing for the what ifs, you know, which is beautiful, and I respect that to the fullest. But when I say that, uh, do we actually? Does anybody actually think that we can coexist as a separate entity outside of their jurisdiction? And you know, of course, we understand in order to be sovereign, you have to have land, military, and your own financial system. So are these particular tribes that are going to be separate outside of the corporations going to have their own fiat currency and their own military. Because when I look at other instances where our people move forward on the financial without any, because the people in Black Wall Street and Rosewood, they could have been considered separate tribes that were thriving, outside of the corporation. But we see what happened to them. So can we actually coexist alongside of these, our enemy, without any interference?
So I think that the another good question should be, could we actually
Hell no.
could we give our people the services that we got right now? Could we build these institutions that we have right now and give our people the services that our people have right now?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's a beautiful question, but it's still not answering the question that I just asked. That's sort of, diverted away from the question. Donnie sort of answered it in the background.
I'm saying that in order for us to lead and separate from this group of people right here, we're gonna have to be able to lead and be able to do for ourselves right off the rip.
Like we did in Black Wall Street or the Move movement in Philadelphia.
But think about Black Wall Street. That was none but Muscogees. That was Indian people.
I'm not concerned with who tribe it was for the sake of knowing what tribe it was. I'm saying the results.
I get what you're saying, but that infrastructure for them to do it was under a treaty.
Well, shit, that treaty was broken in a hell of a fashion.
All of the treaties were broken. It's just a matter of it's always gonna be a continuum. Are you gonna be a continuum within the system, or are you gonna be a continuum against the system?
Out of the system. Exactly.
And the code. Hear me out though.
Not to cut you off, brother. In the words of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the European is not going to stop until he looks death in the face.
But what is death though? We had paper genocide. Our genocide came from misclassification.
Well, I mean, we could have allegorical death if you want to take it there. That's cool. Watch out, man. Yeah,
So it's just a matter of how do you see the problem. If you see violence as the answer, then that's going to be a violent structure that you're going to. If this person see a more spiritual, or if you see a metaphysical solution, like I say, it's no one solution. It all depends on the perspective and the stance that you're taking as far as in where you stand with indigenous. Do you?
But no, brother. When I see how our enemy, how he operates, not only back then, but how he operates now.
Absolutely.
We dealing with the same type of enemy. I don't know. I don't think that we understand the nature, of the beast in its entirety. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be indifferent for the sake of being indifferent, but I was listening to a brother today on a show, talking about, he was some dude with the last name Bay, and I'm assuming that he was from the more side symbol of America. I'm not really sure, but he was saying how Trump is doing this and Obama is going to be back in the position, and I'm saying that all of these soft-spoken ass answers or responses to a problem that we are dealing with this certain enemy. I just wonder, man. I mean, I would love for everything to go smoothly, and I pray that it does. In those aspects. But I'm just wondering, brothers. Nothing else other than that.
I guess what my question
nothing else other than that.
I guess my question back to you in that regard, and I'm gonna ask it differently this time is, I mean, what's the problem with it? And I agree with you, they're never going to stop. But what's the problem with that, right? Like take that head on, and we start raising our young men to be more defense minded, right? And we already got brothers that's out there that's taking each other out, that has the skill of knowing how to make money and to make something out of nothing. We already got chemists outside, right? Like we got all of these dudes that have energy and ability that can be utilized in a militant way. They just have to have the proper vehicle, and they're stuck in somebody else's government with somebody else's ideologies with so many identities to choose from. Not to say that they're going to choose this one identity that we're speaking about right now, But I guess the short answer, I mean, short question to it is, why run from that, and why not just run to it and just start preparing our young men and our young women to be more ready to be militant in that regard as we build up the economy and everything else.
Can I
Yeah,
can
I
I
think
just
I
show
think.
can I
Well,
just
no,
show
I'm saying.
something? And this is in sync with what you were saying, Horace. This you just got to see this for a second. I'm sure everybody's seen it already, but
You! Shame! 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 No! No! Shame! Shame! Oh my fucking god! What the fuck? What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you do? You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? You are fucking insane! What did you do? You! Shame! 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 Dude, what's happening to her? What happened? Dude, you shot her! I'm trying to help! No! No! You fucking shot someone in the fucking face! You shot someone in the fucking face! Do you have a conscience? Do you have a conscience? Don't let the murderer leave! Don't let the murderer leave! You! Shame! You guys are the fucking criminals! You don't get to tell us what to do! Shame. Fucking criminals! Don't let him leave! Don't let him leave!
Pussy motherfuckers, man.
No! Get the fuck out of our neighborhood! Yeah, it's a fucking crime! We fucking know it! We're here!
You know,
Yeah, man.
before I want to say before, you know, what I was about to say before you played that video, Donnie, is that I think that when I say what I say, you know, I know that the first thing, the response, you know what I'm saying, is from a military perspective, or a physical, either aggression or microaggression on the part of what I'm saying. But my first, answer to my own question is segregation. The
Right.
second answer to my question is going into the spiritual realm, like
Right.
how Planet Wells be saying. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Is going into the spiritual realm, because that's where our answer and our power lies at, with our ancestors and the forces of nature and the Mother Earth. That's what Thomas Jefferson meant by supernatural interference. And I don't, I'm with the genealogy, because I know that I come from Washita, and my people from Mississippi, so I know about the Choctaw tribes, et cetera, and that's a beautiful thing. But when I see videos like that, or when I see them, going over here and capturing a man out of his own residence, him and his wife, and treating her like she's a fucking man, you know what I'm saying, only to capture some oil so we can keep these, you know, these mass consumptions up. It makes me wonder on what level do we matter to a beast, as far as, you know, with this love energy and all this other stuff, man. And you know, I just say that, you know, in general terms, man. And no, I'm not just saying from a military perspective, or, you know, grab arms and go fight and et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Doing what's necessary. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that you have to strike the devil with the same amount of force that he strikes you with. So now, was Elijah Muhammad wrong for that? Or was he speaking on some allegorical level instead of literal level? You know?
But that's to each his own, though. That's what I'm saying, God. It's to each his own. Like, we know every tribe don't fight. Every tribe don't do legalities. Every tribe don't do spirituality. This why.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about, you know, the ones that's, you know, of course there's always gonna be departments.
Yeah, that's
And
what I
that's
was
what I'm
going to
saying.
You
add.
know,
Our tribe as an example with the 12 ministries. I'm not saying you got to go our way, but anybody can do these national plebiscites. And locally, my goal in Baltimore is to do exactly what we're discussing now, is to
I'm in my
build out.
neighborhood. I went out. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, because where I'm from in my neighborhood, it's from 103rd Street to 108th Street. That's 5 blocks going north and south. And then you got 3 blocks, Cottage Grove, Corliss, and Maryland. 3 blocks going east and west. So that's a mile radius. And we were surrounded by all others that looked like us, but they was on the other side of the equation, so to speak. So we was very small numbers, and people know that we didn't play that. So maybe I got that type of mentality, like 300. You know what I'm saying, in those aspects. But I don't, like I say, I'm not trying to be indifferent or, you know, over militant, you know, when it comes to this. But I know that we have an enemy, man, that don't
Absolutely.
give a damn, you know what I'm saying, about this old soft spoken stuff, man. You know, and you know, but I'm gonna step back, man, and because I don't want to sound like I'm over rationalizing, you know,
I think
the
we with you. We
situation.
just coming with, you know, all, you know, different angles of how we can attack what that militants look like. I was going to say the example here in Baltimore. What my mission is from our indigenous government is to make sure that we can find ways and people like yourselves that are interested in the different 12 missions, from helping our people with health to helping our people with how we birth and put our people to death, how we figure out our crimes and forensics but using our natural ways. How we deal with family and culture, how we deal with arts, how we deal with the spirituality and cosmology and the stars, how we deal with law, it, finding people who can defense. We have the Ministry of Defense to make sure that we're training people how to do all these various different things and make sure that whatever your purpose is, you're active in it. So that if we on Monroe or wherever we are in Baltimore, we can have 10, 15 brothers show up to the scene instead of having the police show up to the scene. And, you know, as you grow, those things will continue to improve. But we got to train our people to be able to be purposeful within these areas, all of them, from militant to down to how to nurse our people and how to make sure that we're birthing our own kids.
Yeah.
I
And I
think
want to
one of
say
the,
shout out to them brothers and sisters in Lincoln Heights, right outside of Cincinnati.
right, yeah. I think that the approach to this is it's going to be a little bit more complicated than we're looking at, because we're looking at a younger group of people in their 20s that's going to fight the fight to win. You get what I mean? The passion of us being older is and being more wiser is going to be more in depth. But the younger ones in their 20s is going to be the ones who supposed to hold and maintain this whether it's a war, fight, or change. So that means that we got to get our young people in line. I mean that we got to do the work on ourselves. Like one of the people said in the comments, while they at each other next, it's time for us to get in love on each other, get each other together. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Mike, what's his name? Killer Mike. Killer Mike said something. It was a hostile audience on one of these stages, and it was a woman arguing like, "Hey, we should fight." And he said the same thing. He said, "Don't get our young kids killed because you're ready to fight, because then you know that this is a monster." You see how that guy killed that lady, walked down the street like it was nothing, shot her right in the face, walked down the street like it was nothing. So so my thing is, look at our babies.
Same way they did Sonya Massey.
Yeah, same way. But then look at our young kids now, our young ones. And we take an honest look at our young ones. Is they ready? What they doing? They shooting people in the face. They not ready for to give this people a war. You get what I mean? That's just my point of view.
No, they not. No, they most definitely not. But like I said, I don't want to be misconstrued as if I'm speaking from a militaristic perspective. You know, my first, like I say, my first answer is segregation.
Right.
And spirituals, going into the spiritual realms. Those are my first two answers. You know, the military is last, and that's only on defense. You know,
like I agree with that. Like
but you done pull it up here, Donnie, man.
How we getting this spiritual thing going, and we going into the silence, and we strengthening ourselves. I think it's time for us to start working out, eating more healthy, and things like that. You get what I mean? And those things that just better us. You get what I mean? Yeah. Do the things to better us. You know, it sounds simple, but them things go a long way.
We got to be able to accept too that we may not see the end of it, right? Like, we may not see the best days of it. We may be the founding fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters of what it looks like, and that is a blessing for our people. But we may not see the promised land, right? But there still is a purpose in the plan and what we're building here together. So I'm glad I'm here with y'all, brothers. Glad to see you back here, Mafia.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like I said, I think we all touching on the same topic.
So y'all brothers understand where I'm coming from, right?
No, yeah. Absolutely. But that's the same force. That's why I'm just saying, that same beast and force that you're talking about, it comes on every level according to a person's skill, as far as in what they skilled in, whether you skilled in this or that. That same force and that same passion is what you deal with that with. You know what I'm saying?
Understand fully, but it's strategic. You get what I mean? A lot of people's circumstances is, you got to think about what we've been talking about, the enemy within, and a lot of our circumstances is not the same, and a lot of us don't look at it the same. So therein lies the dilemma. You get what I mean? You know, so it's I think we're doing the right thing, the spiritual thing, talking about what happened in the past and uncovering the past and planning for the future, living our lives better in the future. You know what I'm saying? Doing things to better ourselves. I think that's the whole point that I'm getting at. Do things to better ourselves.
Yeah, we got to resurrect those ancestors. We got to resurrect those ancestors. That's where our most our strength comes from the most, is from resurrecting our ancestors. And I'm talking about resurrecting them, you know, to the fullest, man, because you know, it's a lot going on, and just as well as we are aware, the whole world is watching, man. You know, the whole world sees the tribes on this land as if we're a bunch of chumps that's being consistently bullied, you know, by the same person for the last 400 years, and that we're trying to have these soft-spoken approaches to a bully that's constantly giving us black eyes.
I think one of our people in the comments said something strong. Let me see if I find it. It said, men build societies without permission from colonial interests. And that's what you're talking about. Another way to put it in the Bible is having dominion. So let's take the dominion back. Like you said, let's be men and say, hey, we want to have a constitution amongst ourselves, or we want to be amongst ourselves and govern ourselves. Hey, that's the beginning, right? That's how I'm looking at
Those
it.
like that. That's just like 5-letter Masons.
What you mean by that?
Anybody familiar with 5-letter Masons?
No, that's why I'm asking. What is that, Horace?
Well, I mean, you know, the norm is yeah. What is it a delay? Is it a delay in my speech?
No. Mm-mm. No. No. Now you're off.
Can't hear you
Oh
now.
yeah, yes it is. I said that 30 seconds ago. I mean, Wells. Yeah, but no, I mean, you got three. You know, the norm is 3-letter Masons, and sometimes they extend to 4 letters. But 5 letters aren't considered. They considered clandestine because they haven't gone through the European charters to be accepted as free Masons. But 5-letter Masons don't give a damn about that because they know and understand that they are the original Masons in the first place.
Yeah, that's living the truth. That's just a knowledge base as to what you stand on. Once you know, you don't have to question or second guess or any of that. You just living off of your knowledge base.
So, Planet Wells, what you think about the situation so far?
Sure indeed. Man, I
Well,
was trying to jump on my laptop, man, so I can see better.
I think that the term African American. So you have to ask yourself, well, why did that get so much traction? And the reason is inherent in the title is the idea of all of us being unified. It was a unifying call, right? Now, just like you had Martin Luther King and you had Malcolm X, right? Two separate approaches. Both of them got a bullet. Okay. So now, when I did go to Africa, I noticed even in a single town, you had many different groups speaking many different languages, right? Now, all of them were melanated, but they all had different cultures and different this, and some of them had beef with one another, right? So the concept of this overreaching unity of all people, I think that's quite mythological, right? So the first thing is whatever camp you find yourself in is to communicate and surround yourself with like-minded people, because you will exhaust yourself by trying to unify everybody that happens to have brown skin, right? So when you're able to connect with your like-minded people, right? And let's say one of the essential things is to concentrate on acquiring land, period, right? So see if the consensus of the people around you that is related to that goal and then acquire the land, either by a legal, in terms of reclaiming the records and this, that, and the other, whatever it takes to unify oneself so that one has land would be a major victory. And then you have to get into, of course, protecting that land. But nevertheless, it does come down on one level to land. The other thing, from a historical point of view, irregardless of what particular tribe you might be in, is that to find out what the colonizers deemed important to separate you from. And I would posit that the first thing they took from you is the idea that you did not have any connection to source or any connection, valid connection to religion or spirituality. Now, if they put their energy into destroying that connection, maybe that's a very powerful connection, right? So in Hawaii, the melanated people here was living off the land, and they were doing their spiritual rituals and chanting, right? Communing with nature, right? But that was the first thing that they outlawed here, that they couldn't do that, because there was a type of, to them, I guess, a secret unifying quality to that shared spiritual ritual. So that goes back to what Horace was saying in terms of the matriarch, right? So investigating those type of energies, right, to see. Because from a straight military standpoint, right, my view is, well, do you have an aircraft carrier? Well, if you don't, then I suggest you maybe try to find a different way, right? And I say that if you're going to accept this concept of indigenous, right, then you should look at what's the common denominator with indigenous people. And I say that is the land and their spirituality, right? So when we go to different hoods, I've been to several in Chicago, I've been to just several in New York, I've been to several in California, right? But most of them don't even look inhabitable for me, right? Because you got a bunch of our people fighting and beefing and this and that, going after, trying to make the come up and trying to do this, right? Because the root of their connection to source has been severed. So until we repair that, we might win a little battle here and there, but the war is out of the question. Because as Downey's, the thing that he showed, I believe that's Minnesota, and that shows you how they deal with their own people, if you want to look at it purely racially, right? So we're dealing with a force and an energy, right, that we have to commune, make our true communion with that spirit or that invisible realm and conjure some energy, okay, to go up against this oppressive energy. That's just my view. Everybody else has, they have their own view, but that's my view.
Planet, let me just add in. This is Lorenz Tate. This is a clip I saw on Facebook where he was highlighting his strawberry farm as you were talking about land. And yes, that clip was from Minnesota, and it was an example that they kill their own, they kill you, they kill anybody, they just kill. And I wanted to highlight that because as Horace was talking, it just brings to mind how serious the times we are living in really are. It is not a game out here. They did not play with her. They killed her on the spot. Judge, jury, and execution. They treated her like an enemy combatant.
So going back
as they
to,
have done us countless times,
right,
and beyond race.
exactly. Going back to Hannibal, is that one of the things that he genuinely provides and genuinely provides for us is this historical thing, and Mafia works with that as well. We all do, but they're focused on that and experts with that. So when we look back to these structures that are created by the Mayans and this, that, and the other, one of the things that the ancient world or the ancestors, right, deemed very, very, very significant was time. So when you look at Maya, you find that they have, and I believe they may still hold the greatest calculations of the Venus, right? And we know that the Dogon has deep insights in terms of Sirius A and Sirius B and Sirius C, right? So they deem that important. Okay, so what's the relationship of viewing time? So things are cyclical. So even though this is horror that we are currently in, okay, it's actually, in terms of time, a very recent pimple on the legacy of our being on this planet.
Horace, I didn't know you were backstage.
Oh, it's all good, brother.
I didn't realize that. I misread the graph.
Planet Wells,
Yes.
do you think that we're in our dark ages, that we're in a dark age?
Yes, this is the reoccurrence of the dark age for sure. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we can, once again, I don't want to be the king of the saloon because I don't like the activity in the saloon in the first in the first place. So I want to elevate this to a higher vibration. Because you know why? As long as I've been living, the other practices don't work.
It don't work.
They just
I want to
don't
give
work.
I'm gonna give a little historical update. We have, I think, a troll in the comments. I put up the picture of the native of the Hawaiians, this right here,
Yeah.
just as a
Beautiful
picture of
people.
Hawaii, because that's what Planet was talking about. But if you want to get technical, then look up who was the first king of Hawaii. I love it when people don't know their real history, and not just in Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. Planet, there were black people all through the islands.
Yeah. Planetary.
Hey, Donnie.
This is Fiji. This is Fiji. You see that hair?
Yeah.
That is an afro.
Well, he look like Tito Jackson.
The work
That's
of
chemtrails. Do your homework. If you want to get technical, I was just throwing up a picture of Hawaii, but there you go, planet.
Hey, Donnie.
Yes,
but
boss.
in response to chemtrails, no, we are not Native Americans.
In fact.
Yeah, we're not Native Americans. So chemtrails is absolutely right. We are not Native Americans.
Right. And that's where the word semantics come in.
True indeed.
Because a lot of times we speaking from a layman's terms or just commonality. We know what we mean when we say natives or indigenous.
right.
You just always got them trolls in the sideline. We ain't gotten rid of them. Kind of like roach spray. You spray it, then they come back. Because we try to have a civil conversation. But Ars, you make some great points, man. And I stand with you. This is wartime, man.
Absolutely.
It's not a game out here.
Yeah, we got to go into those spiritual realms, man. And those ancestors, they just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
For us to tap in with them.
Because if it was insignificant, they wouldn't have gone out their way to rip it out of your soul.
True indeed. Yeah, so I don't mean to sound militant like, hey man, let's fight.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't, bro.
No, you not. You definitely don't sound. It's all militant though. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're doing genealogy and going to court, whether you're doing the spiritual practices, like that's it's all militant and it's all necessary for us to fight the beast that we fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Our ancestors, man, they've been waiting, and I know that I tried my best to do my part. But I collectively. Unified, man, resurrecting our ancestors. And like how Hannibal was saying, man, them red sticks, man, them dudes was nothing to play with. Just imagine if we resurrected the red stick the right way.
I think chemtrails don't want that.
Yeah, because they don't know nothing about them red sticks, man. And them Apaches, and them Comanches. But they even manipulated a lot of the information, just like how they say Uncle Tom. Well, Uncle Tom was one of us.
Right.
He wasn't no tap dancer. He was a freedom fighter.
Right.
So is this guy here Hawaiian right there?
Yeah.
That's King Kamehameha. Kamehameha. Say how you say it.
Oh, that's Kamehameha?
That's a Kamehameha.
That's Kamehameha right there?
Looks like the young Kamehameha.
Man, hey, you know what, though? Hey, his name resonates, man, through the ethers, man. And I've never even seen a picture of him, but I've been hearing that name, Kamehameha, for years, man.
See, the bottom line is the further you go back into antiquity, the darker the complexion of the people are, period.
I wonder how did he get that afro, that round like that, man?
They got their style.
Man,
that was before.
Planet Wales used to have one of them afros like that?
No.
That was before.
Hold up. This guy's from Fiji. This is Kamehameha.
Yeah, that's Kamehameha there. Yeah, true.
This is Hawaii, and I was just simply saying that we were not just in Hawaii, we were all through those islands.
Correct.
Including Fiji. But this is Kamehameha right here. I'm sorry. I was over here researching.
And he could very well be a younger Kamehameha. Same ultimate phenotype. Same hair, same.
I told you, Wells, that the Germans was planning on a sneak attack against the Samoans up that way.
Yeah,
man, the Samoans did a ritual, And,
Yep.
and nine of those German warships got sunk.
Yep. All right. So that's the alchemy of this, the science of communing with nature. You know?
Indeed.
And so you throw a hurricane at them. You feel me?
Hey, Planet, I
Yeah.
got something just for you, man.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is gonna make you smile, man. This is gonna make everybody smile.
He was already here. That's a bald-faced lie. Didn't discover no America, and the ship got in troubled water. And them black men was already here. The black people was already here. So they went out in that ocean and rescued Columbus off that ship. But they didn't have no knowledge, no learning or nothing. And then he came here and he put them into slavery. It saved his life. But he's a bald-faced lie when he said he discovered America. That's a bald-faced lie. If my black relative didn't went out there and to rescue his butt, when that the turbulence was tearing up them ships, he wouldn't have been here. So black people didn't know. All they knew was living off the land, and they didn't know how to fight for themselves.
Right.
He put the black people into slavery. And the big old giant. My grandfather was tall, and he wasn't afraid of nothing. Nobody, white or black, short or tall, fat or thin. He wasn't afraid of nothing.
What was your grandfather's name?
John Jordan. But everybody call him Johnny. John Jordan. Put the black people into slavery, and they got tight, and they fought their way out. They fought their way out of what he, black people.
Beautiful.
I say.
Yeah. I had seen that before, Donnie. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you mad when you think about how much has been stripped from us, has been hidden from us, has been stolen from us, and as Maya Angelou says, still we rise.
Exactly.
They've thrown everything at us: heroin, cocaine, crack cocaine, Molly's, sticky, lean, Robitussin, whatever you want to call it,
everything,
cough syrup. Still we rise. Still we rise. But I had to show that clip. If they do that to one of their own, you know what they're going to do to us. You know what they would want to do to us, I should say.
Shout out to Pop.
Yeah, shout out to Pops.
Say the Pops, that's right.
91 years old, Air Force veteran. Shout out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, Hannibal. Well, I know Hannibal and Wells and Donnie. Man, I know that well, me and Hannibal were around the same age, but Donnie, you about a decade or so older than us, but Mafia wasn't around then. But man, do y'all remember when cocaine first hit the streets?
Yep.
Yeah. I
Man,
remember.
that shit came, man, like a hurricane, man.
It was like zombies, like Night of the Living Basehead.
Yeah, right.
Like a whole different world. I'm glad that world don't exist. But it morphed into what we got now. You know what I'm saying? We got over that crack thing because they thought crack was gonna get rid of us.
But don't forget that was in conjunction with the Vietnam War. So a lot of our soldiers came home with habits.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my old man came
exacerbated.
Yeah, my uncle OD from heroin in my grandmama's house in the attic.
When you talk about crack, you got to talk about Ronald Wilson Reagan, the president. You got to talk about Colonel Oliver North. You got to talk about the cat out there in California. Was it Freeway Rick? And you got to talk about how we became terrorists. Black people became terrorists We became terrorists, selling poison, selling dope to our own people. And we also glamorize some of these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Superfly.
I was just saying that I remember being a kid in Detroit. Street lights come on, we running home because it's about to go down, and that's facts. In the 80s, that was the worst time to be in the city in the 80s.
You got that right, especially them late 80s.
Yeah, the late 80s, 88, when I was about 14 in 88. That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they stole you just like guinea pigs, but you know, they criminalized everything that Walgreens and Rite Aid was doing, but on the street level. Because you go right there and get over the counter drugs that kill people about 6 figures annually.
Well, let me just say this, because I've said it many times on this show. Back then, Nancy Reagan was on television. She told black people, just say no.
Yeah.
Today, 2026, we have white addicts in the black community living in abandoned houses, chasing everything out there. When you go carrying poison, it's bound to spill on you.
That's right.
Other people say karma's a bitch.
Well, you know, it had it not been for that cocaine era, we probably would be a third world country by now.
Oh yeah, we was on our way because we was, like you said, we was basically segregated then. You know what I'm saying? With Detroit, we was like, we was the biggest blackest city in the country. We had 1.8 million people, almost 90% black. Wasn't no place bigger than us. You know, as far as
I can tell you, crack wreak havoc on my city.
Huh?
Crack wreak havoc on Baltimore City.
But look at the places where crack. Okay, look at the Cash Corridor in Detroit. That's where Little Caesars Arena sit at now. That used to be crack heaven, like New Jack City. Honest to goodness, that's how it used to look. But you go there now, it's the main thing now. That's what they wanted. They destroyed the whole thing. The freeway system that sits there, that was all black neighborhoods there. They destroyed it. You get what I mean? And it was all
those highways. Harsh, you know better than probably all of us, the highways that were built through Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, all black communities.
Yeah. And then you know, we in Chicago, we had the Robert Taylor projects that extended from 35th and State all the way to 55th and State.
Yeah.
So that's 20, 30 something blocks of projects. But peep how they did the people in those projects. On the east side of the projects, you had State Street. On the west side of the projects, you had Federal Street. So the project sat in the middle of State Street and Federal Street.
Dang. Hey, Horace, going down there on State Street, what's that, the Cook County Jail or whatever that sits down there?
Cook County is on California.
What's that? What sits on? Okay, the Robert Taylors used to have a grocery store, some stores that's sitting in there, right?
Yeah, they did. They're down on 51st Street. Yeah.
Yeah, because the State Street ain't that far from the 94. When you come off 94, you make the right?
It's right there. That is yeah, because I got it. You know, I'm a finding pictures, man. Because my grandfather took a picture of those projects from his Buick.
I came down there when they was tearing them down, and I said, damn, they got grocery stores and clothing stores. They want to keep you in the projects here.
Yeah, they started with Cabrini Green. Then they got the Henry Hornets on the west side. They got Leclerc Courts on Cicero, 47. And yeah, man, they serve the people a raw deal, man. They the Rockwells on Western on the west side, and Madison.
Cabrini Green.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we had like the Harmon Gardens and the Jeffries and Brewsters and the Sojourner Truths. But look at them now. They all remodeled now. Like all new townhomes now. You get what I mean? where they ain't project. Well, I don't even think they projects no more, or like subsidized housing no more. I ain't sure, but they don't look like they subsidized housing because you got working people that live there.
Yeah, you see how they did those projects in St. Louis, where they admitted to spraying those harmful chemical agents on those buildings.
In Chicago.
Yeah, I'm trying to see which.
That's Cabrini Green, ain't it?
Okay, that's Cabrini. Yeah, because I was saying that's right there close to downtown.
Yeah, that's north side. Yeah.
Yeah, the northwest side, west side for the most. Yeah, north
But you
side.
got to get a zoomed in picture where you see ain't it gates along that thing?
Well, no, Cabrini didn't have no gates. No.
Which one has the gates to go across?
Gates?
I'm talking about like the gates to go across. You know, when you're looking at the front, the facade.
Oh yeah. You talking about? Oh yeah, most definitely. They got gates. Cause they got
like
gates on them.
They got gates along, like it's boxed in there. Like you can't throw nobody or look over. You get what I mean?
Hey, I used to date a girl that stayed in the Cabrini Greens, and I would never go past her parking. Never go into the parking lot.
Sound like a wise move. We got a lot going on in this chat. Kiba, Big Ma Baby, Gregory English. Kiba says chemtrails just spilling toxic waste on all the land. Awanasa say we couldn't watch the idiot box. We had chores, homework, then read and hit the pillow. Lindell Jefferson threw this out there about how do we feel about the World Trade Center 93 and 9/11. As was stated, it was a whole project. Another Chicago, and I've been Brittany Green. It was literally good times in real life. Just wanted to share those things. Thank you for and shout out to the many comments in the chat, minus the troll.
Well, you know, hey man, Donnie, when we got trolls, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Right. I know it's like that question about 93 and them. What do you say? 1993 in the World Trade bombing. That was the one that didn't bring.
I'm sorry. There you go. Bam. How does the panel feel about the attack on the World Trade Center in 93 and 9 and I guess 20 was it 2001?
Yeah.
9/11.
Yeah, 9/11. Yeah. The one in 93, I remember that didn't bring nothing down, right? That was like in the bottom of a basement. So that wasn't really it wasn't too much on that. But the one 9/11, it's a lot of things that don't add up with that.
I mean, the bottom line is all of that shit is staged.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know,
the game is controlling your reaction. So once they got your reaction, they can manipulate you any way they want to. Right.
Yeah, well, you know, they said that they see guys carrying suitcases in there before they failed, and those buildings were constructed to be able to withstand the impact of 747s.
Oh yeah.
So once they hit, they exploded from the bottom. That's why they came crashing down.
Yeah, no, you know, I lost people in that, and if anybody think that it was just the planes that came and hit that, no, man, no.
Yeah.
No, they let that go down for other reasons.
Right.
They don't care about them people though.
It's one documentary that Michael, what's his name? Michael
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore, Fahrenheit 9/11. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, you know, but it's all conspiracy, it's all theories, you know, it's all speculations.
Right.
You know?
So what do you think about being able to fold a $20 bill into an airplane and see those two towers exploding when you fold that bill?
That's all. That's all part of the shamanic magic, revealing. You know, you just got to know how to read the codes.
Exactly.
Then those Simpsons, man, they predict everything, man.
Yeah, they be on it.
But how?
Whose photo is this?
That's mine. That's the Robert Taylor's.
Robert Taylor. Yeah.
That's what Mr. T is from. and Corey Holcomb and a few more people.
So you see, you see the neurosis of that, right? So
Yeah.
you see this. I don't care if it's brand new, right? Who would want to live there as opposed to on the open range, right? In New Mexico or wherever, right? Where you have your land and you're growing your own food and that don't that's all artificial. But
But when
but we're programmed to think that, oh yeah, that's yeah, okay. That's our hood, our
what
okay.
what was them houses called on Cooley High?
That was Cabrini Green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you remember them? He went to his friends' houses, and they was at the back of them. We call
Those
them,
row houses.
yeah. But we got these things called 4-family flats. But y'all had like 6 or 8 families living in like the square
You talking about
building,
courtyard buildings?
the courtyard buildings. Y'all got.
Yeah.
Didn't black people own them? One of them, when did they build these? Like the 50s and the 60s
Well,
when they started building them highways.
I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure when they actually built them, but I know that I think Cabrini Green might have been the first ones in America.
Mm, right.
And
Yeah,
and,
that
and
could
as
be.
I do the knowledge, I wouldn't be surprised if they were built intentionally on ancient Indian land.
Could have been.
Yeah, because Chicago mean what? Stinking onion, garlic,
Yeah,
because the garlic
yeah,
grew there.
onion field, or garlic field, or skunk.
Yeah,
But and I wouldn't be surprised if they're set on Indian burial land.
facts.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Because it sits right off of Lake Michigan, and then
But
you
no,
going up to
those not out Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan is further east.
what's that downtown? Off what water is it? What water body
That's
of water is that?
that's Lake Michigan, yeah.
So going up that way, if you took that body of water, you can be able to go up to Milwaukee, right?
Yeah. You can go up there, up that way. If because I mean in a boat, yeah. But you have to actually get on the Dan Ryan 94 West to get to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
I used to go to Racine. They got ain't there 6 Flags up that way.
Damn, in Racine, Wisconsin.
Now going up front when you coming out of Chicago, going
Oh
towards
no,
Milwaukee.
you talking about that's in Gurney.
Yeah,
In Gurney Mills. That's Six Flags Great America. Yeah.
yeah. I used to be down in your parts and hang out down there by Cubby Bears down that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last time I went to Great America back in the 80s, my boy Tim got shot in the jaw out there.
Oh man.
That don't
That's
sound
back in
fun.
No, it was out in the parking lot, man. You know, that's back in the days where that you had to throw them hands. I'm talking about gang bang brawls like in Warriors before the gunplay started.
Oh, long rounds, yeah.
Hey man, I hear y'all do a lot of plugs for Chicago. Much love, much respect. You say that's where Corey Holcomb come from. Well, this is the first thing I had to learn about Chicago, including about Mayor Daley. But this right here, you know this one?
Yeah, he was one of them though. He's not one of us.
Oh, he wasn't?
No.
Yeah.
He got the bloodline of the conquistadors. That's how he was able to found Chicago during a time where everybody else was at the indigenous people of the land's necks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for telling me. You learn
Yeah,
something
he
new
was
every
one
day.
of them. He was one of them Huguenots.
Yeah, the colonizers. And someone made a comment about the word colonizer. It's the people who came over and took the land, and it's a general term. But
Right.
uh, it, when one speaks of colonize, I'm also speaking of that energy that colonizes your mind.
So indeed.
It's like I agree totally. It's some
Says
some people
Wells,
that
why
look
we
like
keep saving these colonizing
Right.
murderers?
Right. Oh, okay. I read that wrong. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Hannibal.
I think the energy should be redirected to save ourselves.
Do we become like them when we act like them? When we take methods like they take?
Yep.
Is that the path that we want to go?
Yep.
Do we want to become like them? Dish out
No.
the same. That's the thing.
Well, man, when it's wartime, when it's wartime, the rules of engagement apply to war.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, but I'm saying you got. I think we was looking at have you guys ever seen that postcard when they hung somebody and they burned them and it's the whole family's out there looking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't want us to get that way.
Yeah.
Oh well, no, I don't think that we would.
Well,
do
you
that.
know, it's a thing like once you take on the concept that you're in a race, and that particular race is a rat race. Well, you got to be a rat to get in the race.
Right.
Do you really want to be a rat?
Right.
Or is it just that you've been suspended so much from who you are, you're taking on a unnatural, artificial perspective because you think that that is what the definition of life is. But I say that thinking is not what kept you here. There's a greater energy of your ancestors who are closer and at further you go back, the closer they are to the land and the forces of nature and communing with them. That's what kept you here.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why they
I truly
can't
believe
destroy
it.
us.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. Like I was telling Mafia, my partner Shorty Ron, he was the last. His mother had 6 kids, 4 boys, 2 girls. She got 1 daughter left.
Mm-hmm.
His all of them got murdered at different times.
Mm-hmm.
His son, Little Risky, got killed. Then his stepson got killed. So that's 6 men in one family plus 1 woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I grew up amongst a dying breed, man. That's how come.
Yeah.
But as I take a look back into the past at how these atrocities, even took flight, that's how come, I don't have no love for, our enemies.
Right.
That's my hometown there on the screen. So I got cousins that still live in the Brewster Projects. Now, shout out to my family over there in the Brewsters.
Y'all project still standing like that?
No, we got they tore down. I think the big buildings, some of the big buildings might be up there still, like two or 3 of them.
Wow.
But that's right there off 75 and Mac Erskine over there. I see the row houses is gone, but they like new townhouses now.
Right.
But you got them, and then down the street, that's on the east side of the Woodward. But then on the west side where I come from, you got the Jeffrey Projects. That's the same kind of way, built the same kind of way. And then on the other north, far west on the city, you got the gardens. It's the Herman Gardens. But like they said, this is probably one of the first ones, the first federally funded projects in the country. Because they were building the 75, and they built the first mall out there in Northland and stuff, out there then.
Mm-hmm. But think of how diabolical it is to have all of those people, povertized Indians, stacked on top of each other like that, with racist Irish men with badges and guns. You see what I'm saying? And then to have them in the middle of a street called Federal Street, and on the other side, State Street. That was a conspiracy in itself, right there.
Absolutely. No, Chicago deep.
I think they learned over time with us in the bigger cities, you know what I'm saying, that we weren't going to deal with their shit too long. You get what I mean? Or like you look at in the 40s, it was riots. In the 60s, it was riots. You get what I mean? But that riots that happened in Detroit in the 60s, that destruction was still present in the 80s. In the 90s, it still was there. The same buildings that was burnt up there, it was still, somebody was still there. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, Wales generation and Donnie's generation, and then our generation was the last of the freedom fighters that we were misdirected, but it didn't take a whole lot to get us on one accord. And that was displayed during the Rodney King.
That was
situation.
That was a pivotal time in the country too with King. Well,
Yeah.
what year was that? Like 91, 90, 91?
Man, something like that, man.
Yeah.
It was something like that, man. And they knew that they had to shut that down, man.
Yeah, our family out in LA wasn't playing back then.
Nah.
And
it started trickling. It would have trickled back east, but
yeah,
they understood that. Man, we was the seeds of the guys that came from the 60s and the 50s. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they study energy. So they knew who we was. They knew who they was. Because, man, I think all across America, those guys from the 50s and the 60s, man, them was the baddest dudes on the land.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Them dudes in Planet Whale's generation, man, them was the baddest dudes on the land, man. They didn't play that shit. And they was me familiar. They was all about family.
Yeah.
And it was all about business. And as long as you carry things fairly, they were fair as well.
All right, very different.
Very different, man.
Yeah, and go to work and bring their check home to their wife.
That's right.
That was.
It's about family, man.
Yeah, my grandfather, one of them cats. Strong guy. He worked hard with his hands, but it's like nowadays a lot of us scared of hard work. Can't be scared of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta
right.
step inside the box now. You get what I mean? But like you said, we've been saying it. We got the talent. We know we can do it. So let's show. Let's show and prove. But aim it. But we got to have some type of focus and aim. You get what I mean? Some type of goal, like we're saying, buy land, purchase land, grow your own food, start your exercise, and them is goals, short-term goals that we can hold on and grab and
peep the cycles of life.
Right.
So one of the things about growing your own food, right?
That's Baltimore.
Or being a farmer,
wow.
Right? You have to know the seasons. You feel me? So there's an esoteric understanding of seasons and time. Because if you go to war at the wrong time, it ain't gonna work.
So
but you gotta have a lot of discipline to know when, from the military,
like when to start your seedlings or when to plant.
You got to know.
You know what I mean?
You got to be on top of that.
Yeah, and what they do is, I don't want to grow no plants. I ain't doing that. That's the best knowledge you can have. And the best feeling is to eat your own food. I grow my own tomatoes and grapes and all that stuff right in front of my house. That's the best feeling ever. All types of tomatoes, Cherokee tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, all grows. And here, everything is by zones. On the back of a seed to tell you. You can look at it and look at the color code and tell you when to plant it. Simple as put some water on it and a couple little nutrients, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Easy.
Hey, somebody put it in the comments that back then the whole neighborhood raised a child or something to that effect.
Well, yeah. I mean,
y'all remember them days, man?
Yeah.
I'm talking about, look, everybody knew everybody on the whole block, man.
Yeah.
The neighborhoods were strong.
Man, strong, and they were neighborhoods, man. You knew your neighbors. Now neighbors don't know each other, man.
No, we're in a different cycle.
Yeah. And you called everybody Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
You know,
you're right. The teachers lived in the neighborhood. The doctors lived in the neighborhood. You get what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
Not
did, man.
everybody got the paper now. Everybody's doing good now. Everybody got the juice now. They pull
Huh.
up that gate back there.
Families also live together too. Your
right.
aunt could live 2 doors down the street, your cousin living around
Exactly.
the corner on the corner.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that kept it together as a community, because it was actually relatives and family that lived in the same neighborhood as well.
Yeah.
Well,
See that
let's
it was.
let's talk about this for a second. We were down south. Hannibal is often alluded to, Hannibal and ours, to the Great Migration, where we left the deep south because of entities like the Klan. I mean, that's how we got
Yeah.
to places like Indian Territory and other new places that became Oklahoma. But we left the farms. We got away from that. We were very rural. We were very into farming. But then we wanted to be in the cities more. We emigrated. Any thoughts on that?
Well, it was a survival move, right? Because the North was considered the land of freedom, right? So if you've been locked up in a deep incarceration, that's naturally you're gonna do that. Not only that, the North appeared to be progressive, right? Because you know the amphetamine nature of the culture is go 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 go, and that was happening in the North, right?
Right.
So a lot of your educational colleges and this that you know, get educated in the North and da 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 da. Meanwhile, you you gave up what little land that you did have, right? Remember, in terms of the slavery situation, you know, and they say, well, you know, they freed the slaves. You know, I got a friend in Texas, Lee, brother Lee. He said, no, they just let them loose,
Huh.
right? They didn't have nothing. They didn't have nothing. So with this idea that you could get a job or you could get a gig or something other than picking cotton or some bullshit was to go to the North.
I think they got to.
The problem is it got you away from being in your connection with the land and nature.
Well, see, it's one thing about it though, is that the people were pushed to the north before the Great Migration, because remember we was on the whole land.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
between
true.
on the southern portion of the Mason-Dixon line, the northern part wasn't just empty, barren space. We were
Correct.
there too.
Correct.
That's why the pyramids are there. So
Correct.
everything that was going on down south was going on up north. But what they're not telling us is that when they came over here, the weather started shifting,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the same weather in the north as it was in the south before the people with the opposite of the Midas touch came. And so Mother Nature sort of flipped the script. But see, they make it try to seem like during the Great Migration, we was coming north. Man, we was already north before we were pushed south after, you know, the colonizers and the wars and, you know, the English and the Dutch and all those other crackpots.
Right. Right.
I think it was just all evolution. It's all meant to be. You know what I mean? The South was, you know, coming out of slavery and bondage. We're talking about 1863.
Right.
I think the last person on record, federally on record, is like in the 1960s or something, that was freed or something like that in Mississippi. A family.
Exactly.
They didn't
Hey,
even
y'all,
know, they didn't even know freedom came. You get what I mean?
y'all see that comment down there?
Yep.
Well, the beautiful experience that I can share is that my great grandmother, Noble Drew Ali, and Emmett Till are all buried in the same cemetery.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So hey, what Biggie Smalls said, I'm a pimp by blood, not by relation.
Right.
I'd be remiss if I didn't put a plug into Baltimore's Murphy Homes, also the Lexington Terrace on the west side, and then on the east side there was Flag House Projects and Lafayette Projects. And I missed anything, Mafia?
No, not that was blown down. If you count, I forgot the other one that's past O'Donnell Heights.
Hollander Ridge.
Hollander Ridge, yeah.
So my question is, what's the purpose of demolishing those particular buildings and then scattering the people out abroad?
My father always
the
said
land.
gentrification. My father said they want the land back. That like in Detroit, we own the water. The black folks in Detroit, our bill every 3 months, our water bill was $30.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the county people lived outside of the city, they had to pay. You know what I mean? And now you got a regional water board now where they came into when Detroit filed bankruptcy, that thus goes the water board. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the power goes away. The black folks actually had power when we had Mayor Coleman Young here. You know?
And another thing, right? Just imagine the organization that we would have with this information if we was all clumped together like that.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now that's a powerful thought there. But do y'all remember when the Nation of Islam went to Washington D.C.'s projects? And I think that the NOI stayed down there for a month or less,
Mm-hmm.
and they cut crime by 75%.
Yeah, I remember that.
With no guns, with nobody going to jail, none of that stuff. And the federal government stepped in and said that they had to leave because they were on federal jurisdiction.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They went down there and cut the crime by 70-something%, just giving those people knowledge of self. And the federal government said, oh man, no, we can't have that.
It sounds like the same thing when the Black Panthers did that breakfast program, and then we get the
Right.
food stamps.
Same thing.
Same thing. You know?
And that's a beautiful thought though. And like when we thinking about what we trying to establish in a unified, segregated empire amongst the tribes, it's like all of those branches in one. You know, Black Wall Street with the Black Panthers, with Elijah Muhammad, with Noble Drew Ali. You know what I'm saying? That's what we bringing together as a family or as a culture, as a tribe, as an empire on that aspect.
Well, no, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I feel, you know, I wasn't necessarily there in those times, but looking at it, it's like every movement needed the other movement to, you know what I'm saying, to sustain that. But
That's
it came after, as far as in on the timeline, it came after, or they might have had separation during certain times, but it was like every movement needed the other movement.
Correct.
Yeah.
Malcolm needed King, and King needed Malcolm.
Well, who was that? Who was that sent that video? Or I don't know if I saw it originally, where Malcolm and Martin wasn't enemies, how the media portrayed them to be.
I sent that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they was getting together. I think right before Malcolm got killed, him and King met. Dr. King met. And they talked behind closed doors. Don't nobody know what they talked about. It's books written hyperbole of what they think they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that picture that Martin and Malcolm took, their smiles were genuine.
Exactly.
Right. That was after the meet. That was after the meeting.
Yeah, their smiles were genuine. You could see it.
Yeah.
I think didn't Malcolm come to Chicago after the people messed up his house up there?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one, brother.
He came somewhere from Martin. I think it was Chicago.
But I know Martin said that he had been to Alabama and Mississippi, and wasn't no white people more racist
in Chicago.
It was up in Chicago over.
That's right. That's right.
They got videos of the treatment that Dr. King got when he came to Chicago.
And the thing about it is that he had the vice lords with them, and I don't know if any stones or disciples was with him, but I know the vice lords was with them. And man, them white dudes didn't even know who they had marching with King. And the only reason why they didn't do anything because King asked them to take the nonviolent approach. But had he told them, man, look, as soon as they throw a bottle, y'all snap out, man, they'd have sent them white boys packing back further up into the Cicero area. And they didn't even know who they was dealing with, man. But they honored Martin Luther King's request to keep everything in a peaceful perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, you could look at them and tell that they genuine, but y'all see that snake right there between him and Martin?
Yeah, the black man.
Yeah. That's Abernathy, isn't it?
That's Abernathy?
Yeah,
It looked like him.
But that's the one that said that he had to move out of the way in order for the shooter to get a clear shot.
No, I don't think that was Abernathy. That was another reverend.
Well, that was the other one that was out there.
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to Baba Dick Gregory for exposing that.
Yeah. But it's a deep labyrinth.
Yeah, our people was hurt when we lost him. You know, we felt that all the way in the 80s. You know, I was born 6 years after he passed, and we felt that all the way until I became an adult. You know what I mean?
After who passed?
King.
King.
Dr. King. I'm talking about growing up and you going to black folks' house. They had that. Remember they had like that velvet like flag, and it had Dr. King and it had John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy, all three faces on one, and it was hanging in black folks' house.
You know, back in the day, right? I saw what's his name? The boy who supposedly took out Kennedy. I saw him shot. That was the first live assassination.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, I saw that live.
Wow.
I'm in my mother's bedroom, looking at the Zenith TV. Right.
Dang.
Then King. Right. Then Malcolm. The 60s was deep, bro.
Did you see Bobby? Y'all remember?
Yeah. I remember my mother coming down the stairs, and she would say, "Oh my God, they done killed both her boys."
Damn, you know what? They sure was taking. They was taking out the prominent people, man.
They was taking them all out.
Yeah, our people had affinity for them Kennedys.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy, they had affinity for him. And that's if you notice, that's why, like, what's his other one named? Ted. Yeah. That's why the other one, what's the other one that crashed the airplane?
Right.
Remember, he was trying to run for president.
Right.
It was his saying he would run for president. They knew he would have got the black vote immediately.
Right.
Hey, well,
because they were they were considered to some degree traitors to their race, yo.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's like you said. Them 60s was wild. You had what was going on in Cuba with the missiles from Russia.
Yeah.
And all that type of stuff.
Well, let's bring it to date. That's what Marco Rubio and them homies is talking about doing now. And they ain't playing. They ain't playing.
But you know like I advise everybody to watch that Gladiator, the second one with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
And when you study his role, we'll know who it had been pulling the puppet strings all this time, look just like us.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, these white people, they in the same boat we are in, but they just get a little bit more leeway because of the illusion that's created for them to.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You see what I'm saying? But this crook doesn't give a damn about them no more than they give about us. They just make it
Correct.
seem like they do.
So
Correct.
what do you guys know about policy? Or what these folks call policy? When you see Dr. King going to the White House and talking to these guys and trying to change policy, what does that mean?
The horror of the thing, you have to
Bullshit.
go back to Neely Fuller, right?
Shout out to Nelly Fuller.
This is a system of white supremacy. Okay.
And that's the mechanism to make the system is the policy.
There you go.
But then you get into what's up, guy? Big Ben Bay. With the design DC, he also designed the government that they're going by.
Right.
With the God, that's why they say, "In God we trust." Governance, ordinance, and Department of Justice, which is the three branches of government.
Yeah. Well, so far as Section 8 being Section 8 in military is for crazy people.
Right.
I heard that correlation before. The military acronym and the housing acronym. But it's been a nice conversation. Anybody want to expound on anything else?
No, sir.
So we at the 2 hour and 6 minute mark. And Clint, you think we can go ahead and get into the silence now?
Yes, we can. Okay. So we want to tap into our superpower. And that superpower is our core. Yeah. I'm not talking about belief. I'm talking about direct experience. Right? But the gateway to that is calming the mind. Right? So just like a lake where you got ripples of water, when the lake is still, when there's no ripples at all, and you could consider ripples thoughts. When there's no ripples at all, you can see yourself in the lake. So this is a practice to bring us, the 4 direction meditation, to bring us to that wholeness. So what we like to do is take a few breaths, hold them for 3 or 4 seconds, or whatever feels comfortable, just to get you in the proper state to venture off into your silence. Okay, so. Once again.
I see.
I see. Y'all ready for the libation?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I want to say who put that Claudine with James Earl Jones and Cicely Tyson up there on you did that, Donnie?
Yeah, they were talking about the black family breaking up.
Hey, well, you know, it's ironic that you put that up there because when Hannibal said that the real men, the men were real, like his grandfather back in the day, I was just about to mention Claudine.
There you go.
Then you put it up there.
That was a
That
great
alignment.
classic there.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, there was a scene in this movie where a welfare worker was coming around and James Earl Jones was dating Claudine, who was Diane Carroll. James Earl Jones had to jump out the window because if he would have been caught there, if a black man was caught in the house, the woman would lose her benefits. So it was a systematic way of further dividing black people.
Absolutely.
They had to hide where they bought her too. Remember the irons and all that. It was silverware, whatever. Anything new, anything in the house had to be accounted for to get the check.
It's also a documentary. Yeah, it's a documentary out there called Welfare Over Fathers that came out in 1960 as well.
Yeah, I mean, somebody asked the question that was Hannibal, do we become like them, like setting people on fire? I don't even think that that's in our nature to do that. But you know, some of them do need to be set on fire. You know, and you know, shout out to Winnie Mandela. All right, here come the libations. Y'all ready?
I wanna just do a pre-libation to Horace Lee IV.
Horace Lee IV.
Started with that.
Horace Lee IV.
Gratitude, bro. Like to start.
I want to shout out to Hannibal because Hannibal has been dropping science, man. I've had to get a damn notebook and do research. Right. My God, right. I done learned a little bit more about the Creek Nation, the Muscogee, the treaties, the Treaty
I had to put my glasses on.
And I know, man, so shout out to you, Hannibal, for taking this up a notch. And you know, there's a lady in the chat, and she often shouts out some of the other giants in this field. But we got our own giants, including you, Mafia, the point guard.
Absolutely.
So shout out to the panel, Planet, Horace, Hannibal, Mafia.
Gratitude. And it's reciprocated, man. When Planet Wells be doing that bowl, I just be thinking of us, the tribes, man, being on some of these mounds and pyramids with a big old gigantic bowl.
Absolutely.
Because man, once we tap into that spiritual realm, man, it's a wrap for anybody who stays that way.
Absolutely. The bowl is symbolic with those bell towers as well.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, Noble Ali made a statement and said that one day they was gonna melt down those bells and create bullets.
There you go.
Yeah. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Like to give start this honors list out to the Prophet Noble Ali, to the great Queen Neitha, who they erased from the pages of history, from Chicago, Illinois, who defeated 5 armies of invading Europeans and Moors, the most honorable Empress Vidayasi, the most honorable Chief Redbird, the most honorable Chief Warhorse, Kimba Vita of the Congo, Dr. Francis C. Wilson, Dr. Arikana, Sister Shahrazad Ali, Ashada Shakur, Angela Davis, Mama T, Sister Vicky Dillard, Sister Myra, Dr. Joy DeGrew, the sister on YouTube by the name of the Chris, Queen El Hadare Bey, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm Malik El Shabazz, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Dr. Delbert Blair, Taj Tariq Bey and Dr. G, the Honorable Dr. Claude Anderson, Son Ra, Mayor Hare Washington, Patrice Lumumba, Professor Plo Lumumba, C. Freedmen Hill, Dr. Martin Luther King, Che Guevara, the Most Honorable Dr. Malachi York, Omaliyesh Attila, my right-hand man, Julius Malema, my other right-hand man, President Ibrahim Traore, my other right-hand man, General Barbecue, the beloved brother Bobby Hemmett, the Honorable Reverend Phil Valentine, Nellie Fuller, Fred Hampton, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Clarence 13X, Anthony T. Browder, Professor James Small, Dr. Booker T. Coleman, Rod Hayes, Young Elder, Dr. Ray Hagins, Steve Coakley, Billy Carson, 19 Keys, Dan Calloway, Karimio Ahua, Rizzi Islam, the legendary Top Cats, my man over at Taylor House Publishing, Dr. Sebi, Layla Ha Africa, Yaki Awakening, King Randall, Rashad Jamal, the Honorable Donnie Glover for providing us with this platform for us to reach our people. The Honorable Planet Wells for spiritual guidance through these troublesome times. The beloved and honorable brother Hannibal James for his wisdom and knowledge on genealogy and so forth. The honorable and young, wise and intelligent brother Mafia Shakur for running that point guard. And the honorable beloved brother Minister Balone for his wisdom as well. And to all of our viewers who are 100% on our team in this monumental and indigenous movement here on Turtle Island without any questions asked. Ashe.
Ashe.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, my brothers.
So
Powerful show, gentlemen.
I hope for the viewers that you see the real, true love we have for each other.
Sure, indeed.
I hope that is infectious to the community. We have to love each other, okay?
And protect our system.
Every time I hit the bowl, I'm praying for you to accept how beautiful you are. Every time. Peace and blessings.
And
I
for
think
that
it all
comment,
be fitting. I'm sorry.
no, I was saying for that comment about the dancing rabbits treaty, I'll come back at a later time and we'll talk about that one too.
Thank you, DJ Sweetness.
I'm glad you saw that. I've started to leave that alone, sir. I just want to take you out on a good note. Here you go.
It's Muscogee, Nico, Lukusi, Johnny, Gators, and Bossa Lady, Hannibal, Liz, and this party, Red Land, Red Tsunami, Red Creeks, and a Red Ferrari, Red Clay, Red Jabani, Medical, and Axabani, Yaya, bless, they call me Mr. Manifest, you fellas screaming out the chest, I got this technique best, I found my destination to a red light, rock your soul to the daylight, hot your going crazy, right, Nazi going crazy, right up, man, fight, I'm purple hazy through the night, I'm thinking chili out of spite, I'm making soup for the slice. I speak